Even if you have that thick skin and you can somehow shut out the noise, you have to have a lot of other people buy in.
Sure.
And how conscious do you think that they are of that noise?
Very conscious. Everybody reads what the media is talking about
No.
and hears fans.
Not me.
Fans tell us when we were losing, fans would walk by my box after the game and say, "Hey, Luhnow, fix this." So you get feedback all the time when things aren't going well. But I think if you communicate well to all the stakeholders, and that includes your ownership group, it includes the media, it includes the fans, it includes people in the front office, the players, the staff. I mean, that becomes such a big part of my job. Setting the vision, hiring the right people, but then over communicating so that everybody remains inspired and is able to push through those times when the criticism is there, because we can never control the outcome, and sometimes the outcome doesn't happen the way we want it to. And you can't just decide because you lost a few games in a row that all of a sudden your strategy's wrong.
I mentioned how tough things were when you first got there. Your team averaged 108 losses a year for 3 years. It's incredible. And I know people like to use that word tanking. I don't personally, because I think it's a sort of a radioactive word that people read all kinds of meanings into. But there certainly was an approach there. I mean, would you say that approach was you recognized that as you looked at the system, that by losing big, ultimately you could win big?
No, it wasn't that. For us, we inherited a team that had one of the bottom 5 farm systems in baseball and had the worst record in Major League Baseball. We didn't have a whole lot to work with. Now, that being said, Dallas Keuchel, George Springer, Jose Altuve were all in the system, so they were really important players that would become part of our future. But we could have tried to fix everything at the same time and spent an enormous amount of money doing it, and we would have had a lot of trouble. So what we decided to do is fix the process to develop the players so that we could consistently have a pipeline of great players to trade and to bring up to the big leagues. And that meant trading away guys like Carlos Lee, like Wandy Rodriguez, like Brett Myers, but accumulating guys like Joe Musgrove and Davinsky, who were in Double-A at the time, but who would eventually get to the big leagues. It did not mean for one moment that we didn't try and win every possible game at the big leagues. And I was signing free agents that we thought were good role players. We weren't going to go out and sign big free agents to multi-year contracts because we knew that our probability of even losing less than 100 games was pretty remote. So it didn't make sense for us. And at the same time, our TV deal was falling apart. We didn't have the revenues that the other teams had. So we were responsible with the resources we had, executed the strategy that we felt would get us to the end point as quickly as possible. And quite frankly, that's exactly what happened.